Welcome to Marriage Monday with Jeremiah and Savannah Jennings. The Jennings own Growing Green Landscapes and are very happily married. In this podcast, Jeremiah and Savannah discuss the wins, losses, good times, bad times, and everything in between pertaining to owning a business while maintaining a healthy marriage along the way. We hope you enjoy the show.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another episode today here on the Growing Green podcast. This is your host, Jeremiah Jennings. Joined along with me for another Marriage Monday is Savannah. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Glad to be here.
Absolutely.
Dropped Jack off for a little afternoon interview,
Yes.
and we are honored to have Brett and Chase Eikenbary with us today. And this has been an interview I've been wanting to do for a long time, and so I'm glad we finally got to set it up. It's crazy. Schedules are just crazy. Life is crazy, and so it's hard to get it lined up. But I'm glad we got to today. And how are y'all doing this afternoon? Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having us on, guys. We appreciate it. We always look forward to podcasting and, catching up with some of our friends in the industry. So we appreciate you having us on. So yeah, we're doing good. It's like we were talking earlier, it's been a nice weekend. So we've been able to spend a little bit of time outside and get a few little things, odds and ends done. And actually, before we hopped on here, we were going over our employee handbook. So,
oh, wow, yeah.
Glamorous Sunday office stuff.
Yeah. It never stops.
Nope.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourselves. Probably a lot of people know you from Instagram, but if they don't, tell us the backstory, because I don't really know the whole backstory on y'all's. And I know you're newer in business. You've been married 10 years, but the business side of things is pretty new to y'all. So tell us just the backstory of y'all's relationship and then how you've kind of transitioned into what you're into today.
Sure. Would you like to go, babe?
Okay. Yeah. So we started dating in like 2008, and he always for years would mow yards on the side and do like small little jobs. It was like his side money.
Side money.
Thing,
Yeah.
And he was working at a factory, and then he got laid off, and this was like a couple months into us dating. And so then he got a job at a local landscaper, with a local landscaper, and great family owned company. They were older, and he learned a little bit of stuff. And then, we got more and more serious throughout that year, and that season came and went. And then he kept working. He got called back into some other jobs, and then ultimately ended up at a factory where he was at for 10 years. Like, he literally just left the factory last year that he was at. And great company, great manufacturing facility, great, place to work. But he was not happy and not fulfilled, and just every spring came around and he was like, gosh, I want to go mow, or I want to go do this. And we landscape our house, and all that. And we love doing that. And my career was in a different path, and he was doing his thing. And we, 10 years of him being in that manufacturing facility just kind of wore on him. And about 2.5, 3 years ago, we started thinking, what if he just leaves? What if we do the whole, let's make the jump.
Yeah,
let's
take the plunge.
Take the plunge. I think it was through COVID, he started listening to a lot of personal and professional development podcasts, stuff like that. And it was just he can do this. He can do this. I'm doing my thing. We can totally do this, and ultimately we made the decision. We're either in, we're not going to be halfway in. We're going to be all the way in. Yeah. So, because a lot of people were like, oh, you can just do this on the side, right? You can just maybe do a couple landscape jobs on the side or mow on the side. But why would you leave your stable job and, with insurance? Why would you do that? And we're like, well, there's a thing called happiness. And so that's kind of what started and what kind of happened over the last 2 or 3 years. And then this brings us to, he's through the entire first season. and I guess we made it through. So
we survived season 1, year 1.
Yeah. That was super quick, but I just thought that's kind of where.
Yeah.
That's good. You got anything to add to that, Brett?
I think she pretty much covered everything. She's pretty thorough.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good. I
did leave out the fact that we did, we built a house during that time, and we were like, stuff was doing this, and you were focused.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up. That's a good point. So during that time when I was working at the factory, there was some property on my mom's side of the family that we were able to get a couple acres from my parents, and we built a house and we put up a pole barn on the house, or on the property, I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. And so we've always worked together. There's some couples that are like, I cannot work with my spouse. We'll kill each other. Yeah. And it's
we were still, actually, we were engaged. And building the pole barn. And we're like, this is fun. Let's try to build a barn while we're planning a wedding, and then see if we can do a house when we're married. So, yeah.
So we went through all that early on in the marriage. We had been together, dated a little while longer than that, but
and we didn't fight or anything.
No.
I think more people who were helping us, like our friends and family, were probably more annoying to us.
Sometimes it just got to the point where it's like, we'll just do it ourselves. It's easier.
Yeah.
But so we experienced a lot together before starting the business. And once we started putting things into place for the business, when it was still just all the administrative things that you have to go through to get all that started, she was a huge asset in that. And that was more of just working together on, planning and things like that, strategizing. So we decided to launch the business. It was like the weekend, it was Thanksgiving week of 2021. And we decided Thanksgiving and through the winter, we would do it was going to be like 6 months of building the brand and building clientele to start the spring, to start officially on April 1st. So we launched the business, but he was still working at the factory. And so all that 6 months, like we just planned, we started doing social media. We started doing, obviously, like getting the website, getting everything, getting equipment. Mm-hmm. And then on April 1st, of 2022, officially, he left, and that's it. Yeah.
Never looked back.
We thought, never looked back.
People ask him that too. They're like, oh, how is it? Or do you ever miss it? And he's like, no. Yeah. So it's and that's not to say that the company that I work for isn't a great company. I've recommended it to people, but it just wasn't,
You'd served your time.
Exactly. It was a good fit for the almost 10 years that I was there, but it was time to move on and explore other things. So for sure.
Well, there's a ton that we can unpack and get into there. That's a crazy last couple years for y'all. The building process of the barn. What did that do for your relationship together? I know that Savannah's parents have built a couple houses, and everybody that we know that has built houses is like, you really find out what you're made of. Like it's very stressful on your marriage when you do that.
I was like surprised to say that you said that was like a cool thing for you. Like it like brought you closer, because I was like, oh gosh, like in my head I was like, oh yeah, everyone says that that's so hard on them and you really learn, so it's whatever. So I think that's cool. But
do you think that helped y'all, honestly, like moving forward as far as the working process together, like doing that and then building the house? I mean, do you think it had anything to do with it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
And we're two really different personalities. So, when people say they balance each other, it's really true. And he knows if I'm maybe struggling or feeling one way, and maybe he can just kind of put me back in check, or vice versa. Like, okay, let's break it down. Come on. Let's talk it through.
Yeah. We came up with a term, we called them CCs.
Yeah, CCs.
So we called it couples compromise.
We do a lot of
good.
couples compromise.
Yeah. And so, if we came to a point on something where we couldn't agree, we just kind of tried to compromise. So we each got a little bit of what we wanted.
Yeah. That's really good.
Yeah. And there's certain things that, when going through a process like that, you have to step back and say, I don't really mind. Like, pick out the cabinet fixtures that you want, honey. I honestly don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care, and that's the same with her, with me. So, you've got to be sensitive to your spouse or, your partner's, wishes and interests. And at the end of the day, if somebody's always winning and somebody's always losing, that's not going to make for a very good relationship. So,
yeah, for sure.
So let me ask you this. Whose idea was it to quit full-time, like quit your job and then go full-time in the business? Was it a mutual agreement? Brett, was it mainly your idea? Because I think we could spend a few minutes here, because a lot of people are.
Oh yeah.
A question we get a lot are, how do we get our wives on board, or how do we get our spouse on board? And so, what was that for y'all?
Especially, like if you're like leaving a career that's like stable,
exactly,
and like, let's go be entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, you'd been there almost 10 years. So it's like you were established, you were comfortable. You were set.
You should have had a hefty retirement account by that point.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you leave a lot.
Yeah. And I think, I'm pretty sure, I don't know the exact time when I first brought it up. I think she cried and she's like, I'm not ready for that.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, we'll bring that up some other time. But no,
it's all about timing. It's all about timing.
That's right. So just kind of step back. I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to work at the factory a little longer.
Yeah. You're supposed to ask her right after right after she has her favorite dessert or something like that. Like, your favorite place to eat.
I think honestly for me, I knew, like, I would see him. He, like, especially on Sundays, he'd be like, oh my God, I don't want to go to work tomorrow. Or he would, and I hated that. Like, I want nothing more for him than happiness. And so he was just like, even like coming in from work, if I was home and I would see him, I'd be like, oh my God, he feels like, it was like sucking the energy out of him. And I hated that because like, we want to be, and we typically are, we love a sense of accomplishment. So we love, working hard, doing stuff around like really accomplishing things. And when you have no energy, like, it's just like, ugh, like it just was like bringing everything down. And I could tell, like, it was just like a matter of time before we got to do something. Right. And I warmed up to it. Pretty easily, I guess. I mean, it was, again, a year-long conversation.
That's not something you just like make your mind up in a weekend about. So.
No, that's not something you do overnight.
Yeah.
No, so this can be maybe a follow-up, and you kind of maybe have already answered it. Were you sound like you were pretty supportive from the beginning. And I mean, was it something that you had to work through personally and like, hey, I want to support my spouse? Or was it like, I see how miserable he is, let's just do it? Or, I mean, because Savannah's type of person, like, she needs a plan. She needs a plan about everything. I don't know how you are, but like.
I need a plan for our Sunday. I needed a plan. What are we doing after we talk to Jeremiah?
There you go.
Like, what are we doing? For the
rest of the day, what are we doing?
Did it bother you that I didn't give you a plan for what we were talking about today? Just a little bit?
I'm sweating. We now I can't remember the question, No,
I was just saying I'm the same way, because we're a little different in that when we got married, he was already doing this. So I just see, I put ourselves in like y'all's shoes or other people's shoes, and we have these conversations about how would I feel, like what would I think? And I think that it would be really hard for me.
That would be tough.
Because I would want, like you're saying, nothing more than for him to be happy. I don't want to watch you go to a job that you're miserable at and sucking the life out of you and coming home every day miserable. But like, also, like, how are we going to do it? Like, are you sure? Like, is it really, because it's like, I don't know, that's a really hard thing to struggle with internally as the spouse, because I feel like you, again, want nothing more than to support them and for them to do well and succeed and to be happy and find fulfillment in what they do. But also, like, it's your life. So there is that part of it, like, it's not just for fun,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we were pretty fortunate enough to, have the luxury, like he wasn't getting laid off or anything. So we could take the time and kind of really analyze it and really think, okay, so if we do this and grow, if we start a business, obviously we wanted to grow responsibly. We didn't want to just like bite off way too much, because that's not going to work. So, and we're pretty big into, we want to make sure we do it financially, like smart, and we're not, taking on all this debt and, what we can do. Like, we definitely didn't want to do that. So it took a great deal of planning on our part, but, we were fortunate enough, if he did leave, like he could be on my insurance, and then we didn't have anything like that to worry about. And we knew the work was out there. Yeah. Right. Because like, as the buzz was kind of starting a little bit, and, throughout the years, people would always, want him to do stuff just because his reputation around the community was like, maybe Brett can do it. Maybe, so we knew the work was out there. And I mean, you guys know there's enough work for everybody.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There's so much work. So that was my biggest, I guess we shouldn't say we knew the work was out there. You felt confident that the work was out there. I was like, what happens? Like, what do we do if there's no work?
Yeah,
like, that's what
interests me. That's what I want to hear a little bit more about is, how did you come to terms with it? What did you have to do? Did you have to just say, hey, we're going to have a step of faith, like, and do it? I mean, is that pretty much what you came to?
Yeah. And then we did. And then what I realized in, I would say April and May, which in Ohio, it's going crazy. Everybody wants everything looking beautiful for graduations and summertime, and everything's growing like insane. And I think April and May, evenings, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, I was helping him. We were working nonstop. Our families probably thought we were absolutely nuts. Like, I'm like, holy cow. Like, there is something here. He's doing it so well, like the quality's there. He's going to get these people back. He's going to get the customers back. And I could see that the work was there, and I could see he also didn't hate his life. He loved it, And so I was like, oh, okay, something's working. So I think I just needed a little bit of like reassurance, like most women do.
Full confirmation. You just had to see it.
I had to kind of feel it and see it.
So were there, be as open as you want to be, you don't have to, we can move on, but like, were there super tough conversations and quote unquote arguments, fights about like, do we need to do this? When do we need to do this? Can we do this? Like, I don't know. I'm just thinking of if we were in that case of totally leaving everything. And so you said you still had a job, right? Or do you still have a job?
Yes, okay. I do. Yeah. And we're fortunate with that. But from the business side of things, him and I do all the branding and office stuff together. Yeah. So,
okay. So you are still working in the business as well a little bit.
Yeah.
So like, that's what I mean. Just like, were those conversations? I mean, because you can say, I'm supportive, but there had to be times where you were just like y'all had arguments.
Well, I'm like, I couldn't understand. I'm like, why do we need like this brand new trailer, and why do we have to spend this? And why? Wait, what do you want to spend on? And like, I'm like, why do we have to have this like dump trailer? Like, why do we have to have this? And he had to enlighten me a lot. And then I think, again, just what you said, Jeremiah, had to have a little faith. And I know he wasn't going to do anything that wasn't in our best interest. So, but again, we are fortunate because I do have a separate income. So that is, I think, where a lot of people might not be as fortunate if they want to go ahead and take the leap, so.
Right.
And you had mentioned earlier, y'all were kind of really able to do it on your timeline. Some people aren't as fortunate in situations and kind of feel pressured. We got to start by this time, or they're out of a job or whatever. So that definitely, I feel like, helped things that you guys were able to take it at your pace and decide when we want to fully jump in and when we can do like this kind of soft launch like you were talking about. So I think that's awesome too.
And I think from the beginning, it's obviously something that I wanted, but it wasn't going to go forward without her blessing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And so once that was established and we were kind of on the same page, so to speak, it was just a matter of like working through things together. And
actually, this weekend, we're strategizing and doing a bunch of different things. We may have even said this weekend, he may have said, do you just want me to go back to wherever? And I'm like, no, I don't want that. So it's still a conversation, right?
Yeah, we still have that conversation. But it's the whole thing with business. Like, we've got to get through it. Like, let's figure out. And so, I mean, our kitchen table looks like a strategy. It's our little war room right now, so. Yeah.
So here's the question that all the guys want to hear now is, Brett, how did you do it? How were you effective? What was your in winning Chase into the dream? Yeah, that's what I mean. Like because that's the hard, like, yeah, we know I can get out and do the work. Like, you can go do the work, but you can't go do the work if you don't have, like you said, her blessing. So what did that we heard her side of things. You had to have a step of faith, but like, what did you do to adequately try to convey your vision and dream for y'all's family future over to her?
How long do you guys have? No. I'm just kidding. No, I think that it was basically just a constant, I don't know if I want to say daily conversation, but we just constantly talked about it. Communicated.
Like his feelings, right?
And there wasn't, to answer your question, Jeremiah, there wasn't like I wish I could give somebody this like killer there's two lines how to do it.
There's no magic answer, but
they're definitely, you're exactly right. There's no magic. That's a good way to put it.
But there's a process that you had to, that was done.
Right.
And
there's something that's really important to go along with that. If there's anybody that's listening that is in the same position, that I had to believe in myself that I could back up what I was saying. Because I knew if I'm going to walk the walk, or talk the talk, I better walk the walk.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I am a dead man if I say that I'm going to do this, and this, and can't follow through with it. So
you have employees.
Yeah. And so you have to take that, that personal responsibility and say, okay, this is what I want, and whatever it takes, it's what I'm going to do. And I think that once I knew that that's where I was at, and I could convince her of that, to believe in me and trust that this is the way it was going to be, then you're good to go. Yeah. You can go forward with it. But with that being said, in business, there's always unexpected things that come up, unforeseen things. So there's nothing that's guaranteed, but it's just more of, believing in yourself that you're going to be able to do it. And I don't know how many times we said that together, like, we can do this. We can do this.
Well, we also say, like, this is where, like, how it is. It's like, there's a lot of couples in business where it's like, well, this is where a lot of people would stop. This is where when it gets hard, like, people would just like throw in the flag. But no, like, we have to do it, and we want to, and it makes them happy. So the convincing, I don't need convinced anymore. So.
Well, what does business look like now? So you're a year in. I mean, you're kind of you kind of made it through the fairy tale part. You made it through the year one of like you're fired up, you're fired up, you're pumped up, like you're getting the new stuff, you're getting everything rolling, you're getting new customers. Like that's the quote unquote, and I don't mean to sound disrespectful, that's the easy part. Like the hard part is years 2, 3, 4, 5. Like that, it really starts setting in of like, hey, like this is gonna make it or break it right here. And so what did year one look like? Was it a success? Were there struggles? What are some things maybe you would share that you learned or would change? And then what is the goals moving forward?
Yeah. So I don't know. I'll say a thing or two, and then Chase can say a couple things too. Maybe it's something different with her, but all in all, I felt year one went relatively well with everything. That's not to say there wasn't struggles.
Absolutely, yeah.
By any means, but it was a good year. We learned a lot, and that's what I always tried to think. If we got into a situation where we didn't know something, I tried to rely on people that could help me through it, mentors or whatever the case is, and then move forward and take that as a learning experience. And that was the biggest thing. I think that going into it, I just had this vision that all these contractors, like they just, like they never made any mistakes. Like all these jobs, like you'd see these really nice jobs, landscape or construction jobs or whatever the case is, that these guys, like it just always flows smooth. And I learned that that's not the case.
Absolutely.
By any means. So, but yeah. So
we also learned that clients really just want communication. It's kind of like in marriage, you just need to communicate because that's what the client seems to want. Even if it's like a quick no, or even if it's maybe it's just an answer they don't want to hear, but at least like we're communicating. And that was one of the main values that we kind of thought about with the business, like this first year, is communication and quality. So like we realized like we want this super high quality because he's really, really particular, like super particular. And I think a lot of people out there will pay for it and want that, right? For their landscape and their lawn care. And then they also want, I don't know if you guys, it's the same where you guys are, but like we hear a lot of like certain contractors, like they just don't call me back. They don't call back. They don't call back.
Yeah.
A lot of that.
Yeah.
And we don't want to have that. We try to have a rule, like a 24-hour rule, like got it, did you text this person back? Did we email them back? Did we call them? So people love that. Yeah. And that has helped a great deal. Sometimes it takes up a lot of his time if, the little old lady wants to sit down and talk for 2 hours, but hey, that's a big takeaway.
And that is something that you're going to learn and adapt to, like as the business grows, as you grow. Like those are things that just has to be done in those early years. Like that, we're not anything, but this is year 5 for us, and I can think back to when I was in year 2 and year 3. It was. Yeah, you have to have those conversations. You have to sit there and entertain the late, and because they're your best customers, like they're the ones that help you get off the ground, and so you have to give them that. And then as your business grows, you don't abandon them, but you have to adapt and move on and know what your time is worth and things like that. You have to kind of nip that in the bud a little bit, but those are all things. That's funny you say that example because I distinctly remember like having that exact situation happen pretty frequently in year 2, and it was like, wow, it's hard to get through that. But that as you grow, as business continues, and that's gonna change. So
and I think along those lines too is something that I really learned, and I didn't learn this till probably the fall. We're members of the Ohio Landscape Association, and I was at a snow and ice clinic that they put on every year, and there was a guy, I can't even remember his name off the top of my head, but he was speaking. And he was talking about in the snow and ice management about managing client expectations. And that really hit home to me, not just for the snow and ice, but also for the landscape. And I kind of wish I would have heard that going into the spring, because I really, going into, a job, a client calls or prospective client, going into it, I'm always have that in the back of my head. And that's something that I could say I definitely learned in this first year is finding out what their expectations are. Is something as simple as a weekly yard mowing, there could be a lot of different expectations from different clients.
Yeah.
So you need to find that out exactly what and there's sometimes I just ask that, what are your expectations? You know, do you want your lawn to look like a golf course, or, you know, or your landscape? Do you want it manicured to look, you know, a certain way? What are your expectations when we leave this property? Because I followed up with, I want you happy because I want to be back here next year.
Well, and by doing that, you're able to not get upset when you undercharge them because you didn't think they wanted that amount of work, and then you're frustrated with them because they're trying to ask you more.
Right.
But if you just ask them ahead of time and you get what they actually want, then you can just factor that into your pricing.
Yeah.
And you just plan for more time there. And then that way nobody's upset. Like, they're getting what they want. Yeah. You explain, hey, you want a premium service, so you're going to pay a little bit more for it. You could get it done cheaper, but you're not going to get it done to this standard. And so nobody's upset with anybody at that point.
Right. And it goes really smooth. And then there's a nice relationship, a nice working relationship is built through that, you know. And then whether it's a landscape project, an install or something that we've done, or weekly mowing where you're there, you know, all through the season, you get to know that client, and you're kind of on the same page. So moving forward, it's smooth. And I think that's really important, because you never want to get halfway into a project and it's like, this is not what I was expecting.
100%.
So, yeah.
So let's transition a little bit into, I want to hear some y'all's take on this, because it's cool. This is the first interview that I think is just all these situations have lined up the way they are. Y'all reinvested heavily, I feel like, into yourselves, into your marriage and running the business. But then also, Brett, you've invested a lot of time into going to events, y'all went to the trades. You were at, did y'all go to Equip?
Yeah.
So y'all went to Equip. Y'all went to Entrepreneur Academy. You went to the Ohio Landscape Show. Like, you've been to, I saw you did Hardscape Academy training. So like, you've put a bunch of money and a bunch of time reinvesting back into yourselves and education, learning how to do certain things. So how has that paid off for you now that you're a year in? And I think you can give a better answer on this probably in about 12 to 24 months of like, if you didn't have this, where would you be? But right now, in the year where you've done it and then heading into this year, how more adequately prepared do you feel because of all of that time and money that you've reinvested?
It's for me, and I said it from the beginning, that it was going to be a very important part of our business, just because education's everything. And whatever trade that you're in, you never stop learning. I mean, the industry always changes, whether it's the landscape or, contracting, whatever the case is, it's always changing. So I knew from the start that I wanted to do that. And I'm kind of a hands-on learner. So, there's a lot out there on YouTube, and there's a lot of great videos, and I YouTube videos all the time, like, how to do this or that. But when you can get your hands on something and actually be around people that do it, have done it longer than you, like the Hardscape Academy with Caleb and Brittany.
Oh, yeah.
Something along those lines. I just feel like it elevates your business so much. And not only are you getting the hands-on training, you're putting yourself in that room. And Chase and I talk about that a lot. We don't ever want to be, I never have to worry about being the smartest person in the room.
Yeah, that's never crossed my mind, ever.
Yeah. Yeah. No. She would have problems with that. But no, we always try to get in the room with people that, that are smarter than us, that we want. Like, I kind of try to be a sponge and just take in as much as I can, because whether it's a podcast, something I heard from, a podcast that you guys did, or, a seminar through the Ohio Landscape Association, there's just little nuggets that sometime they're going to come back up, and you might not see that return right away. You spent some money and spent some time to go do it, but down the road, I promise there's going to be something come up, and it's going to click, and you're going to say, "Oh, I remember that guy talking about that." And
there's always a takeaway.
Yeah.
Like, there's always a takeaway. I think, like, with the Hardscape Academy, he came home and was, he was so pumped because they talked all about, they spent a lot of time just kind of picking Andy Mulder's brain or Caleb's about, how to charge a client for this or how to build out this estimate for this hardscape project. And then John Pajak's in the room, and there's all types of, like estimate talk going on. And I don't know about you guys, but, when he has to do estimates, and it's, so it's just always a fun night.
Yeah. No sarcasm in that statement at all. Is there?
Right. No. So there's always a takeaway. And then at the bigger events, like Equip, Entrepreneur, we love the speakers. There's always something. And then we were really excited that Together in the Trades is an actual thing, that we went there. We never really take time to do I would say little getaways, but we kind of did, and we felt like that was a little getaway in Nashville, and we already have Montana booked, so it should be good. But there's always a takeaway.
And I think too, when you start networking with people that are in the industry, and you sort of see a little bit more behind the scenes, I think, somebody that owns a company is a little bit more transparent if you're at an event like that, and you can sort of see what works for them. From the simplest things to maybe equipment setup or, what kind of mowers they run. And that doesn't mean that we're all in different, places in business. So just because one thing works for Jeremiah Jennings, it might not work for us, or whatever the case is, but you get ideas. And I think that's really important too, that you can walk away with different ideas from the business side. What kind of software are you using, and maybe have a 5-minute conversation about software or, billing practices or design, landscape design, things like that. So
I've got to ask you, how did you break into the green industry social side of things? Who did you see? How did you find? What did you find first? I love hearing that, because 90% of the time it's Brian Fullerton. Everybody's that's what so first I found Fullerton. Oh, great! You're just adding to his ego's going through the roof right now as he listens. He's driving down the road in his Tesla, just thinking, "Man, I'm just messing." Brian's not that way, but he was probably first, and then I would say probably Caleb. Okay.
Probably Caleb and Brittany, just because of the Ohio connection.
Okay.
And I don't know, and maybe I heard Brian talk about or saw a YouTube video or something that Brian did of Caleb.
Because we were excited because we're like, oh, they're in Columbus. Okay.
Not too far from y'all.
Yeah, not too far. So I thought that was pretty cool. And obviously with the social media presence and stuff like that, you can start kind of seeing YouTube videos and things like that. And then it kind of goes. I think the first entrepreneur that we went to, I think, was when Paul Jameson had all of his books out, his first book. Maybe.
Oh, so y'all went, that was the first year, the 21, right?
Yeah.
2021.
That was so y'all were you hadn't even started yet.
We hadn't even we literally hadn't even we didn't even have, I think we just had our logo and everything.
Wow.
And because we wanted to do more of simple and clean logos and stuff like that. And I remember us working on the branding, and we went to L'Entrepreneur, and we were like, who are these people? And I was like, who are these people? They seem to know each other. Maybe we're going to get something from this. I don't know. And it was fantastic. So
it was good. And
that was the first one, okay, well, we're doing it.
Yeah. And I will say I was shocked at the kindness, I guess. I don't know, for lack of better words. It was crazy. Yeah. I mean, from so maybe I introduced myself to Paul Jameson, and then there's a couple Instagram messages, and we see him somewhere else or whatever the case is. And it's I don't know, you just kind of become friends with everybody.
100%.
And everybody's so helpful. I would have never, if somebody asked me that, I would have been like, no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
that's not going to happen.
That's one thing I say all the time. The green industry has something on social media that I've never seen in another industry, as far as the camaraderie and everybody just building each other up, being friends. Because we all do the same thing. Like, that's the thing, is like we all literally all do the same thing. There's a podcast, the Turf Wars podcast, that it's a great It's a great. Did you get on theirs at podcast?
Yeah.
We didn't get on there when we were down there, but I was just telling Chase because I listened to Caleb and Brittany's with them.
Yeah.
And I told Chase, I said, they're competitors.
Yeah, literally. They live down the street from each other, and they're doing a podcast together. So it's like, it's unlike anything I've seen. It's crazy, their relationships and friendships that are built off the internet. Like, we would never be having this conversation if it wasn't for the internet, and y'all would have never gone to that first event. So it's crazy how stuff like that happens. You listen to podcasts, you listen to YouTube, you watch YouTube in the very beginning. All that stuff is free. These events aren't free. This training is not free. Would you say to someone who is getting into the industry, or somebody that just wants to network and grow more, would you say they're like necessities for you moving forward? Like, do you think that you should go invest that time and money into those events? Because for me, I would say yes, because it's just the networking you get out of it, the things you get to learn. It's just amazing. But I want to hear what your opinion is on somebody who's just finished year one, has invested and put all the time into every event that I know of that I've gone to and more. So what is your take? I mean, as far as that, you can do the free stuff, but should you do the paid stuff as well?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
a genuine answer. Like, you did not know I was asking that question. That's why I wanted to ask you that. Like, you could have said yes or no there, but it seems genuine, and it's not a promotion. It's not a paid advertisement. It's literally just a user that's like, hey, this stuff is worth it. And that's, people always say, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, or I'm in year one, I'm in year two, I don't have the cash flow for this. You just have to make it a priority.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And for you, it sounds like it was a priority. Like, you probably didn't have a bunch of extra money to pay $400 to go to Nashville and stay in a $300 hotel and do all the things. But what did you get out of that? Your relationship and in your business as well. So.
Yeah.
Well, I think this week, like, there's a hardscape 1-day seminar thing up in Michigan. I'm like, is that on the calendar? I mean, I think it's very inexpensive. It might be free, but I know we went to it last year.
Really?
Yeah, Techo Block.
Oh yeah,
And I'm like,
their showcase that they do.
Probably, is that on the calendar? Are we doing that? We might as well, if we're not doing snow.
Now. Go learn something.
Like,
Yeah. And for me personally, and you can ask Chase, she, like, when I leave, whether it's the podcast summit, we were down there, or Entrepreneur Live or whatever, it is absolutely like a shot in the arm.
Yeah.
I mean, I am pumped up. Like, when I leave those, like, I'm ready to, like, I feel like I could just, like, run through a fence, and I'm just
that's what happens when you get around like-minded people who are wanting to do the same things that you are.
Yeah.
And bigger things. So
Yep.
Very true. So true. So and we just thank you guys for doing the Marriage Mondays and doing the podcasting, because it's people like you guys in business that we want to, if it wasn't for you guys or others, maybe no one would be doing this, and it helps, I think, the industry more than a lot of people realize. So
well, we love every second of it. I like just having this conversation. It's just eye-opening for me. I always learn a lot. I do a podcast, so I get to talk to people and learn myself, and then we get to give it out to everybody else to hear. Like, I learn more than just about anybody probably does. So that's, I never want to sound like I know anything. I'm learning and soaking up, like you said, being a sponge. And I would say anybody out there, even if you're in year 20, you still need to be a sponge. Like, you need to be soaking up everything you can. Now, you need to soak up the right things. That's one thing that I would say. I would say, we're talking about going to these events and things like that, paying money. Invest your money wisely. Do some background. Yes. Do some research on the events. There's a lot of gurus out there now that think they can sell you a course So you can buy a course or do whatever, but you need to do a little research and vet your sources. So
and when you start getting around people at events like this, you can tell the people that are genuine.
Yep.
and the people that are out there, to benefit the industry, to help others. And I say when you get around those people and you establish who those are and for sure, then just go for it. If they're having something, then it's probably going to be well worth the money.
100%. That's amazing stuff. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on and joining us today. It's been a fun 45 minutes. Time's flown by.
Yeah,
I know. It's crazy.
I feel like we could do it all day, but I want to be respectful of y'all's time. Do you have anything else you want to leave us with? Any thoughts or words of encouragement, or anybody out there that's maybe in your stage or could just take some advice from you?
Just keep pushing through. It's a journey, and I think. I don't know. I can't say it exactly. I heard Mike Andy speak at something, and he said it really well. It's not. I can't remember exactly how he said it, but it's the people that are going to be in business for the longevity are the people that are going to still be around. And sometimes there's going to be some ups and downs and bumps in the road, but you just keep pushing through.
Yeah. 100%. That's good stuff. Well, we try to ask all of our guests this here. It's pretty simple, but it can be complex. What is, I guess you can answer this individually or together, whatever you choose. What is your why?
My why is to make sure my husband's happy. And I think the business why is probably to make sure that we add value to people.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I would say.
Yeah.
But we didn't really talk about it.
I would say, we didn't. And I would say something personally for me is the why would be to control my family's destiny.
Yeah.
And so, when you're in business, I kind of feel like the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
In a sense, where if you're working for somebody, you're kind of put in a box, but, just to be able to control your family's destiny and just to see what the future brings.
That's good stuff. That's amazing. I love those answers every time. Like I don't ever warn anybody that I'm asking that because I want the true, genuine answer. And so that's
right.
I love that. Where can everybody find you if they want to connect with you on Instagram, maybe ask you a few questions or something moving forward?
Yeah.
Eikenbary.com. And then on Instagram, it's Eikenbary Landscape Company or Eikenbary Landscape CO.
Yeah.
And Facebook, we have some TikToks going on.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
The standard.
I keep saying, I keep saying that one of my goals for this year is to get a YouTube channel started.
Yeah.
And start getting some videos uploaded to that and getting that going. So I haven't done it yet.
Well,
but
now he said it out loud.
Yeah.
So now
you guys don't have me,
Now
so
you gotta do
have
it.
to hold me accountable.
That's awesome. Well, we'll put the link to your Instagram in the show notes if anybody wants to go there and shoot them a message. They'll be happy to help you any way they can. I'm sure because y'all are just awesome, genuine people, and I can't wait to. I guess we'll see you in July. I guess.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
See you in
Big
Montana.
sky.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Absolutely. It's been an honor for y'all coming and joining us today. Thank you again. Thank you to everybody who's listened to the show and supports us along the way. It's not always easy to get interviews out once a week, especially with you throw a young kid in the mix, it makes it a little bit even harder. But we really do love it. We enjoy it, and we wouldn't have it any other way. And so we thank everybody for listening. Give us a big 5-star rating and review if you would. If you do listen to the show, those really do help. Like you look at those reviews and you say, oh, this show's got 10 reviews, or oh, this show's got 100 reviews. Which one are you going to listen to? So those really do help. And then hit the follow button at the top right. That'll notify you when we do post new episodes. So without any further ado, I think that is going to wrap this one up, and we look forward to catching up with everybody here on the next episode.